Welcome to Philly Fortune Talks with your host, Jake Penny, where the city's brightest minds share the secrets behind their success. Are you ready to be inspired?
In this episode, we chat with Jason Donapel, the co-founder and COO of the Email Experience EX, a thriving retention marketing agency based in Philadelphia. From starting as a warehouse worker at Heart Rate Monitor USA to becoming the head of marketing for multiple Shopify Plus stores, Jason's journey is one of grit, growth, and entrepreneurial spirit. Now leading a team of over 40 members and generating over $100 million in email and SMS revenue for clients, Jason dives into the strategies behind building a successful e-commerce businesses, team development, and the power of retention marketing. It's a pleasure to have you on Philly Fortune Talks, Jason.
Thanks so much, Jake. I really appreciate it, dude. Thanks for the invite.
So you started your journey, in your first career as a warehouse in warehousing, and became the marketing head of marketing for Heart Rate Monitors USA. What motivated you to climb the ranks and then ultimately make the transition?
Yeah, I don't know if I would describe it as a career in warehousing. I think that's just sort of where I ended up there, right? It was I think it was like a Craigslist ad, and I just walked in. The warehouse was out in Bucks County, so I had a nice commute, the 45-minute drive back and forth. But once I was there, it was the first small business I'd ever worked for. Previously, I'd worked for like UPS, U-Haul, the Home Depot, or no, I'm sorry, the Kmart before the Home Depot up in the far Northeast there. So I'd only sort of been exposed to really giant corporations where, I don't know, the view looking up to the top was sort of impossible, right? Like, what are you going to become store manager or something? So once I got the warehouse gig, I think the team there was maybe 15 people and they were doing some serious revenue online. It was my first exposure to like e-commerce, and holy cow, this is a scalable, insane business model. You don't even need a store. You don't need a brick and mortar, like a footprint. And, I was there for about 10 years and it just sort of happened organically. I was close with the owner. He kind of took me under his wing, mentored me a little bit. And then I just went from there. It was really, I didn't really notice it as it was happening. It just like 10 years passed and I was suddenly like, oh, all right, kind of, I'm pressing other different buttons now.
So fast forward, you're now the co-founder and COO of the Email Experience. Talk a little bit about that. How was that journey? When did you transition and what was like the grand vision?
So I transitioned out because as head of marketing for the e-commerce brand, there was a lot on my plate, right? We had ads to buy, we had pipelines, we had acquisition to fill. And then I was also working with email. There was no SMS back then, but I was working with email a lot, really, really enjoying. I mean, there was SMS, but it wasn't SMS marketing, right?
Right.
And email marketing, I was really enjoying. I liked the nature of it being opted in. So I didn't feel like I was creeping around the internet, like following people with like retargeting ads and things. I liked the opted in nature of it, that people had expressed their interest to speak with us before we started sending communications with them. So I literally put up a job on Fiverr. I was just like looking for more opportunities to build more emails, right? At my day job, I had too much on my plate. There was too many, Google ads and search ads and SEO and all these channels I had to manage. My partner, Dave Miz, who's in Miami, hired me as one of the first gigs. He needed some abandoned carts built, right? A pretty basic email funnel. And then, ever since then, him and I just started, we started knocking out projects together. His network and my kind of implementation know-how skill, it just kind of, again, just every day showing up, consistency, plugging away, like bringing your best strategic foot, putting it forward and like leaving everything out there with every relationship, kind of snowballed into this, right? And now we're here, whatever it is, 8 years in or something. And it's just every single year, growth year over year over year. It's been really, really amazing.
That's awesome to hear, especially with growth year over year. Is there any experience or skill sets or maybe mindset that you took from warehousing or the Heart Rate Monitors USA into the new company the email experience?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So, all right. So when I left HRM USA in a full-time capacity to really focus on the side project at that point, I don't even know if it had EX as a name yet. I'd taken on that side project, but I'd also taken on a marketing gig for another startup called madamsew.com. They're a sewing brand. And that was my second CMO gig that started from zero, like startup. I was there for order one, which was awesome, right? HRM, I came in and they were already an established business for like 20 years before I even showed up, right? So coming into Madam So, they were a startup launching from order one. So I was doing that and then simultaneously working on EX. So I had like these kind of three balls up in the air and I was deciding every day, like where to spend time and what to focus
Juggling.
on, what to do. Right. Yeah. So eventually EX is the one that landed. Madam So is actually a client now. So they're still kind of thriving and doing their thing. But I think I brought that up because I think there was a transition, right? There was full-time working for my boss, the owner of HRM USA. Then it transitioned into another CMO role, but I wasn't really working for anybody, right? There was no establishment. I was the one building the processes. I was the one really building the customer avatars. Like there was nothing. So that happened. And then I was launching the agency, which was giving me direct exposure to clients, right? And they come from all different walks of life and have a whole lot of different, unique needs depending on where their businesses are and how long they've been. So I think what I gained from these experiences is the ability to kind of walk into a business and really have empathy. I guess it's like sympathy because I've literally been in the shoes, right? I've sat in the chair of everything from fulfillment all the way through the CMO who has multiple people, right? They have the owners barking at them for one thing. They have maybe like a dev team or something that they have to answer to, and then they have customers. So I'm kind of feeling everybody's position, right? I know who they're answering to, and I can kind of get myself into their skin, right, in the org and say, okay, this is how I can help you be successful. Because what I've really learned over the time from B2B, right, from transitioning from full-time D2C, now like a really heavy B2B component, like I sell to other business owners, is yeah, that I have to help the person in front of me be successful, right? If it's a CMO on the other side of the table, I can help them be successful in front of their CEO, and then all of a sudden everybody's moving up together. And I think that, yeah, if I had to put my finger on one sort of unique skill set I got from that journey I took from warehouse to see, it's being able to literally, from a strategic standpoint, we can look at it from 10,000 feet in the air, or we can come down and say, how's that going to work when you're packing boxes though? How's that going to really work on the execution front, right? And it really helps out. It adds a unique value to my conversations with clients that I think helps.
Yeah, that definitely really, really helps being able to have experience in every single department or job slot, whatever you want to call it, and be, hey, now you're up here, but you know how all the intricacies work on every single level. And you get to elaborate that to your clients too. Like, hey, I'm not just some Joe Schmo up here that, manages this. It's like, hey, I have actually done these roles.
Yeah, and we save a lot of money. We save a lot of heartache. Like we save a lot of the failures that I've been able to experience over the last 15 years or whatever. We don't have to do it all over again, right? Because if we're launching an ad, right? Like if we're launching an ad for you, Jake, before we even talk about the creative of the ad, we're going to drill down all the pitfalls that I know are ahead, right? Like, okay, who's the audience? How are we segmenting them after the ad? What's the follow-up series? How are we going to capitalize, 2, 3, 4, 6 months from now on this ad spend? And it really helps to shape, it just helps to shape like how you're going to pump out content once we have the audience there. Like, do you have a plan for what if success happens tomorrow, right? I can kind of talk through even through the experience with Madam So, sourcing, launching new products from scratch, like the whole thing. What happens if a new product takes off? Now you're sold out. Now we have a whole different, a whole different set of I don't want to say problems, opportunities.
Opportunities to solve.
Yeah, yeah.
So EX has generated over $100 million in email and SMS revenue for its clients.
Yep.
What do you say, what strategies or approaches have been key to achieving those successes for your clients?
So it's all about personalization, both for my clients and for their end user, right?
Mhm.
So it really doesn't matter what the conversion event is. In most cases, it's a sale, right? We have a heavy roster of e-commerce clients, or D2C brands with brick and mortar, whatever, that are looking for sales. So a lot of the experiences we build are focused around that, right? So when somebody's opting into a program, if it's on your website and it's a pop-up, maybe it's an exit intent, which is, I think, a tactic we're all familiar with now. An example of how we would approach it differently is to say, Okay, so if you were to go to my website right now, you have a homepage, which doesn't tell me much about you, right? You're landing on my homepage. You could be anybody interested in anything that I have to offer, right? And if you land on my blog, I learn a little bit more. You're interested in reading versus like the video section, right? So now I'm learning a little bit more. It might not help shape my conversation with you, but you can start to see by the nature of the journey, right? Now, if I get you to enter from an exit intent on a specific blog, maybe it's the top 5 things to do with your SMS welcome series tomorrow blog. Now all of a sudden I know a really specific thing about you. Like you're learning about this specific topic. You're focusing on top of funnel for your audience. I can draw whatever insights I want, right? I think I can assign whatever value I want to that as long as I keep it consistent across that. Okay, so SMS welcome series blog post, I'm going to measure this way. It's whatever. So the way my exit and the way everything I kind of launch for a brand is different is that I take that approach to every campaign, every journey, so if I'm launching an exit intent, I have to know I'm going to get your email address or your SMS, and then I'm going to follow up with some sort of nurturing sequence. If I can follow up with a nurturing sequence specific to SMS welcome series now, because that's the section of my content you came from, I can really connect you with value that is going to move the needle for you without making you fill out some stupid, what are you interested in, or take a survey or put roadblocks in front of our progress, right? It's just as simple. If you go to I think it says, hold on, sign up for more information. There's no paywalls, no BS, just sign up. And then it's like, SMS is better. We could be better friends if you want to sign up for SMS. So there's nothing about that conversation indicates that I'm learning about you, but literally based on where you came from, what pop-up landed on, I know what you're interested in. Are you an emailer? Are you an SMSer? Are you trying to get into Messenger? Are you pushing for WhatsApp? Are you a business owner? Are you a freelancer looking to level up your skills? Like, what are you? And then once I have that, it's just off to the races, right? I can create a custom experience for everybody. I can learn more. If you're a freelancer, I can learn a different set of things about you. Oh, what are you freelancing? And what are your goals? Are you brand new? Are you making 20K a month? Are you making 5K a month? Like okay, great. Here's some content to help you get to the next place for who you are. Versus a business owner who doesn't want to learn for themselves. They just want to know how smart I am, right? To see if they want to hire me or not. And that's a whole different sales cycle that I might want to put them into, right? So I think that what we're coming up into now in marketing, it's really, really an amazing time where we've been talking about personalization forever. It's never happened because the work that goes into personalization is so top heavy. But now we're able to really use these platforms in a way that we can personalize down to the point of diminishing returns, which it's its own data point, right? To tell you, like, pay attention to these audiences and leave everybody else as a general catch-all because it's not worth anywhere. It's not worth it on Google ads. It's not worth it on Meta ads. It's not, and yeah, we're able to create better performing messages for brand owners. And by better performing, I mean value per message sent, because that's the main KPI, right? Like every time you send a message, what's it worth? We're also creating just better experiences for the end user, which is really what it's all about. Because like as marketers, we're putting a lot into the world, whether we like it or not. Like we're just doing it. We're filling up the digital space with our content. And I think there's a responsibility that comes with creating better experiences for the end user. So we're not just left with all kind of, I don't want to curse it, but crappy experience, like just crappy nonsense, right? That we're kind of kicking around. So there's a lot of good reasons to do it and a lot of really profitable reasons to do it as well.
So you're super passionate about retention marketing.
Oh yeah.
Can you explain why you believe it's critical for e-commerce success and, how your agency approaches it differently than maybe others?
Sure. I think it comes from a couple angles. We lean on that sympathy I have for business owners, right? So I understand that if you own an e-commerce store, you might have 5 to 10 minutes today to dedicate to your email list, right? Which is, I'll argue forever that it's the most important investment you can make in your business. Like I'll never stop that argument. Email list, SMS list, messenger list, whatever owned list you can buy, that they're not Meta protect, it's your people. But it's also the hardest thing to spend time on because it's not the most pressing thing, and your Meta's spending money every day. You got to watch it. Like you can't let it go. So the way that we approach it is we use personalization to, like I mentioned, find the point of diminishing returns. If you are a supplement brand, like a calcium brand, and you're solving a certain amount of problems for your audience, bone growth, osteoporosis, whatever it is, these audiences are here to get a slightly different version of what you're offering, right? And you can increase your value for every message you send to them by customizing your messages out. That's a lot of work and a lot of effort. So what we try to do, I mean, what we do is the way we implement our flows is that it just organically pops up. The sub avatars that we call them just rise to the top based on the nature of what pop-up are you going through? How are you interacting with our welcome series? Like what links are you clicking in an email? That tells me more about you, right? If you, one of my clients is Scotch Porter, who is a pretty well-known men's grooming brand. So they do skincare, they do beard care, and they do hair, like shampoo and conditioner. 3 unique problems they're solving for their audience. So the first thing we want to identify is what you're here for: beard, skin, face, right? So the pop-ups can do that through a tactic like we talked about earlier. We can put little drop-downs on pop-ups, a whole lot of ways to figure that out. The real key now is that once they're in the welcome series and we're merchandising our emails to them and we're showing like a product recommendation, showing beard care to improve growth, beard care to cover patchy spots. And we're starting to separate people into showers or growers, we call them, right? Like, are you showing off like a sick beard, or are you patchy and trying to figure something out? The same SKUs, the same collection, it's the exact same products being merchandised in that email, in that SMS, in that digital experience, but we've attached now a value to the click. Somebody clicking that I need help with a patchy beard for that SKU, now their abandoned cart's going to be different because we know about them. Okay, they're dealing with a problem. They're not showing off a beard, they're dealing with a problem statement. So now we have to show them how beard oil can solve a problem. It's a different use case. It's a different sales cycle for them. So yeah, that's what we're able to do. And what the really cool thing is that we're able to create this experience to a point where we can say to Scotch Porter, hey, do it for the beard people. Don't even bother doing it for the shampoo people, because there's not enough money in that. Like the dollar per recipient on an abandoned cart isn't worth it. Keep them lumped into a catch-all on your email, on your SMS, on your meta ads, on your Google spend or your Google search ads and things like that. And it really helps to refine the entire direction for a marketing program. Like now when you're shooting creatives at your next ad shoot, you're focused on beard products. Depending on the data, you're focused on maybe patchy beard products. I keep putting on my patchy beard, but you're focused on maybe patchy beard products instead of showing off people with glorious beards that makes your audience upset. You just have another lever to pull, another thing to play with, and you're spending your time more profitably, right? Your time you're spending in your business is going to drive a higher ROI because you're just not going to get it back, right? It's over. Tuesday's done, and your audience either got something out of you or they didn't, right? So
Yeah. So, you've built a team of over, 40 members, and that's like no small feat whatsoever. What leadership strategies do you prioritize to kind of like maintain team synergy and like, drive performance with the team as well?
So we're also a fully remote team, which is another layer of complexity. It was fully remote from day one. And then COVID showed up and we were like uniquely positioned to, it was like, hey, come on in, like we're hiring and we're ready to go. So that's a unique set of challenges in terms of building culture, really anything close to resembling culture. So what we've really focused in on is meaningful touch points at very intentional, I'm so sorry, like spaces in between it. Like we're not jumping on every day, meeting. What we found out is that finding a way to work ad hoc is a cheat code that unlocks your business to be able to work internationally, work remote, work in person, because we can take this business model now that we have remote, and we can fill up an office full of people and it'll work. The same structure will work, right? And I think that's a unique benefit that we had of starting remote. The leadership skills that you have to bring to a team of that size, where everybody starts calling you and like asking you're the one who everybody wants to answer for, is first learning that like you're not as great as you think you are, right? You're not the only person that can do it. Right. Even something that I like, strategy is my strength. That's what I bring to the table. That's what I've always kind of brought, strategy and just thinking through customer journey and saying like, okay, this is what your new subscriber is going to do 8 months from now, and we can map it out. Like this is what it, this is really good until you have to build SOPs for your team to follow and, really start structuring out what processes look when they get outside of your head and outside of your hands. So I would say the first thing to do to learn leadership wise is delegation and understanding what to delegate first. Like the things you want to hold on the most are probably things that you need to let go. Like they're the ones that you're going to have to get out of your hands the most. client communication, letting somebody else take the shape of your, like, we put on the EX hat and say, hey, I'm representing the company today. And it's the same as if Jason's on this call speaking to you, and just getting to a place in your head where you can feel comfortable, comfortable with that happening, even though it could feel impossible for a very, very long time. I mean, I'm 8 years in, we're on our 8th year now. And I listen to more call recordings than I probably should, just to make sure that we're, that we're representing ourselves. But, I think, I think I'm focusing on the call thing because it was the biggest point of it was damn, I can't think of the term. I couldn't believe that anybody else could do it. Like, I just couldn't believe that
Right.
anybody else could get on the call, represent EX, represent my strategy, push it forward and do it better than I could. And then I saw it happening once I let it go. And then you start to realize, okay, I can let go of more and more and more and more. So yeah, I feel like that was not a great answer, but delegating, learning what to delegate, and then like actually doing it and letting it go.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the like biggest challenges as business owners. Like we always think that nobody can do it as good as we can. And it's like at the end of the day, like we're not the greatest. There's always someone else better than us out there. We just have to like be able to remove ourselves and be like, okay, this can be delegated and I'll monitor it. And if it doesn't go as planned, we just adjust. It's all part of the process of growth and scaling.
And then also
It's
understanding
tough to
that,
let go, that's for sure.
yeah, and understanding that you're going to be wrong, something that you hold very close to your heart that you've worked on by yourself. And because as a business owner, you spend a lot of time in a room by yourself with nobody else looking, and you're just plugging away at whatever it is, like, and nobody cares, right?
Yep.
Until like you deliver it, and then they're whatever, they're happy, or they're, and what you, I think, I equated a lot to open source versus closed source. And like the Microsoft can hire the best engineers in the world for as long as they want to, but open source always wins because the power of humanity is stronger than any payroll, right? And it sort of is the same thing. Once you delegate, you have to understand that this is now an open source product. This is no longer my closed off, locked off process or project. If somebody comes along and proves me wrong, I have to be excited about it and learn that, oh, this is about to get a lot better. So you have to just be humble and ready to be humbled a lot publicly in front of your team to teach them that it's okay to be humbled. Like just a lot of that too.
Yeah, yeah. So, a lot of people, like the audience, specifically, and in general, you know, they always want to know like what the biggest challenges or hurdles someone faced transitioning from corporate to business owner, entrepreneur. So, coming from yourself, what were those biggest challenges transitioning from your corporate role to then now your business owner role? And then, how did you kind of overcome those hurdles?
So I think the biggest challenge is, I think there's two ways to look at that. There's like the physical, literal, what buttons did you have to press and what did you have to do challenges, which I think everybody knows what you have to do: wake up early and don't sleep and just keep like read the book Grit or Anti-Fragile or whatever it is and just keep banging your, like that's part of it. But I think that's not, I mean, if it's helpful, I can go through it. I think what might be more helpful is the kind of fuzzier part of it and the challenge of like, just how do you take a step into the unknown and believe that like it's not all going to come falling down around you. And I think the way it finally happens, I think there's a couple ways it happened. The way it happens for me is that staying still was scarier than moving forward at that point. Let me see, I'm 40 now. So I was whatever, 30. I guess I was just about 30. And I was just hitting that point where I was like, my insides don't match my outsides. Like I haven't done the things that I want to do. And, I had a long talk with my wife and I was like, this is not, something has to change. I just wasn't feeling it. And I think that's one way to do it. Your back is against the wall and then you just take a leap. I think the more sustainable way to do it is to first understand, if I could have done it over without the desperation, the self-imposed desperation, by the way, is to just remind yourself that it's not that serious. None of it is that serious. The business at the end of the day, as complicated as it is, as complex as I want to make it sound, customer journeys and personalization, we're sending emails and SMSs to people and we're trying to do it like in a really good way, but we're delivering messages. So, and then we're trying to like do right by our clients as well. And if you just remember the reason, the reason why you're showing up here every day, and it makes it a lot more approachable. It puts things into perspective, and the things that you're afraid of, the failures, once you really start to make them very specific, like what are you really afraid of? You realize that it's not that any target could fire you tomorrow and you're still in the same exact place, right? Except you've gained no experience along the way. All you've learned is whatever target wanted to teach you, right? So yeah, just I think that's it, man. Just starting, realizing that it's not that serious. You're not going to fail or succeed tomorrow. You're just going to take a step every single day. And before you know it, you're going to wake up at the end of whatever you've done for the past 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. And there's really no magic. Like there's no secret to it. It's just that little bridges every day. And then before you know it, you're just like, oh, holy cow, we're here.
Yeah, for the majority of if people look back and they look at, oh, what they feared or what they thought was risky or, the unknown worry, majority of that stuff never even happens what they worry about. It's just like you have to get out of your own head, be comfortable being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and just take it one step at a time. And like you said, at the end of the day, even if you're in a corporate role, you're not the leader, the captain of your ship. You could be fired tomorrow
Oh
or
yeah.
let go, or, God forbid, get struck by lightning, get in a car accident. Now you're out of work. Like all these variables can still happen no matter where you are in your journey of career or business. So it's just like, hey, it's better to do it now than later and take
Yeah.
the
And you could dip your toes in. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow. I think I did them both together for a year before I, left completely.
yeah. Yeah. In the worst case scenario, you just go back to the job you had or you just get another job.
Yeah.
But you,
And the fear, I'm sorry, Jake, but the fear you mentioned is so, yeah, because the fear, not only does it not always happen, when it does happen, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. You just start moving forward, right? It's always this idea of if there's something to do, then do it. And if there's not, then do something else. Like that's
yeah.
it's literally you have just binary choices. So there's no point in worrying about the unknown, which is much easier said than trust me. I understand like it's impossible just to do. But and the other part is that the fear never goes away. The fear is just a container that at this stage of your career, you're afraid of failure or whatever it is, afraid of starting, afraid of people making fun of you if you fail publicly, afraid of whatever it is. That's just a placeholder fear right now, though, because if you don't start, you'll have a different set of fears. So what will they be? And if you do start, you'll have a different set of fears. I have to cover payroll. Oh, am I going to land this next client? So who cares what's inside the fear box? Just understand that you're going to carry around a certain amount of fear with you through the rest of your life now, no matter what you do, and just carry it with you and just say, okay, what am I going to do with it? All right, I'm going to move forward or I'm not.
Yep. Yeah. And that's reality. And then just think it and let it pass, let it ride, and you'll get
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, it'll be fine or it won't. But either way, like
You'll still be alive.
it's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. So what are your next goals for EX and how do you plan to further expand or innovate in the marketing space?
So for EX, what we're really looking to do is expand sort of horizontally. We've been spending our entire um, lifespan so far really honing down on what we do well, which is email and SMS personalization for e-commerce and like some other info products, digital products, stuff like that. Now we're at a place where we are expanding both channels and like our brands that we can service. So I'm looking to get more involved in like local Philly stuff. I'm looking to get more involved in nonprofits, recruitments. Like I really want to use this. Like I said, it's a conversion event that takes the form of e-commerce sales right now, but it can be used for any desired outcome we want for a group. If you're running an ad, we can figure it out, right? So I want to do more outside of e-commerce, and then the channels we're launching physical mailers, we're launching like WhatsApp, we're launching Instagram, Facebook Messenger. We're really looking to take this personalization and just take it to all the channels. So if you're a yoga studio like in Fishtown and you have a really good Facebook following, well, okay, we can set up some really good journeys for your customer base so they're always supported and they know what's going on, what's relevant to them.
Awesome. So, Jason, time flies when we're having fun as we're
Yeah, dude.
wrapping things up. A lot of people that are self-employed, like yourself and myself, we're really doing well at our day-to-day professions, but we're also thinking about the future. Do you, or, yeah, you, have any thoughts about creating income outside of what you're doing now or replacing your income through investments for yourself and your family in the future?
It's interesting. My investment strategy has largely been like the Boggle method, just VTSA exited and chill, and that's kind of just what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Like just throw it in the index fund and let it happen. And that's not because I necessarily think it's the best investment strategy. I just think it's the one for me because I think my energy is better focused on generating revenue streams rather than
Right.
so I think it's a simple approach. I have my M1 app set up with my Pi is set up and it just does the thing every month and I don't really have to think about it. The 401k it's not the 401k is running and then I have my daughter's college thing set up through Vanguard and that's just so I'm an automate and invest kind of guy. I listened to Choose FI for a long time and that's just like I got on the automate and don't touch it. In terms of additional revenue streams, always. In addition to like full service, the EX stuff that we're doing full service, I'm working more on like one-on-one consultants for business doing full funnel. Like EX is really retention focused, email marketing, SMS, but my skills aren't just there, right? So I'm doing some one-on-one consulting with some businesses on just full funnel, acquisition all the way through retention. Where I don't have to actually do the designs and stuff. I can just like get my brain power in there and help people make better decisions with their customer journey. So that's something I've been really enjoying. And yeah, man, I'm really leading into making content, which I'm not going to monetize that. I think I'm just going to pump it out and see what happens.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Jason, thank you for coming on Philly Fortune Talks. For those interested in connecting with you, learning more about your agency and all your services you have to offer, what's the best place for them to go to reach out to you?
Oh, yeah, it's probably jasondonapel.com or, search me on Facebook or Instagram. Well, Instagram's probably not my thing. LinkedIn's probably the best place. Donapel. Nobody else has the last name, so you should be able to find me pretty easily.
Awesome, Jason. It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, Jake, thanks so much, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to Philly Fortune Talks with Jake Penny. Inspired to share your success story? Visit phillyfortunetalks.com/guest and let's inspire together.